Imagine this. You've meticulously crafted your resume, highlighted years of relevant experience, maybe even secured insider referrals. You apply for that dream leadership role, the one that feels like the culmination of your entire career, and hear nothing. Absolute silence. Crickets. Or perhaps you're already in a leadership position, perplexed, baffled why the sophisticated hiring technology your company invested in seems to consistently filter out candidates who look genuinely promising on paper. What if the critical decision, the one that determined your fate, or the fate of potentially game-changing talent for your organization, wasn't made by a thoughtful human assessing potential, but by a flawed, opaque algorithm operating on criteria you know absolutely nothing about? This nagging uncertainty, this feeling of shouting into a digital void, is becoming increasingly common in today's job market. Consider Sophie, a candidate mentioned in the book we're discussing today. She applied for 146 jobs, many she felt perfectly qualified for, only to be met with rejection after rejection, often without explanation. Or Lizzie, an experienced employee suddenly laid off, informed her performance score, calculated by an inscrutable system, was inexplicably zeros. These aren't isolated incidents. They are glimpses into a hidden world, expertly unveiled by investigative journalist Hilke Schellmann in her groundbreaking book, The Algorithm: How AI Can Hijack Your Career and Steal Your Future. Today on CEO's Library, we're pulling back the curtain on this technological revolution quietly, and sometimes not so quietly, reshaping our professional lives. We're diving deep into how artificial intelligence is not merely assisting human resources departments, but increasingly making high-stakes decisions about who gets hired, who gets monitored, who gets promoted, and even who gets fired, often using logic that can be alarmingly biased, profoundly flawed, or simply nonsensical. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll uncover, first, just how pervasive these AI gatekeepers truly are in the modern workplace. Second, the shocking and often subtle ways bias gets inadvertently coded into these systems and then scaled up dramatically. Third, why this supposedly objective technology frequently fails, filtering out excellent qualified candidates that your company desperately needs. And finally, most importantly, we'll explore actionable steps you as leaders, executives, and aspiring entrepreneurs can take to navigate this complex landscape ethically, effectively, and ensure technology serves human potential rather than stifling it. Stay with us, because understanding the insights from the algorithm is no longer optional. It's essential knowledge for anyone invested in building a successful career or a thriving organization in the 21st century. You'll leave understanding the very real risks and knowing the critical questions you absolutely must start asking. So how did we get here? Why did artificial intelligence become such a dominant force in the world of hiring and talent management? The answer, quite simply, lies in scale. Think about the sheer volume. Major corporations like IBM or Google routinely receive upwards of 3 million applications per year. Imagine the Herculean task facing human recruiters trying to manually sift through that digital mountain of resumes. It's simply untenable. The rise of online job boards like Indeed and LinkedIn, while democratizing access to opportunities, simultaneously created an application deluge into AI, presented as the knight in shining armor. Technology vendors promised a solution, software that could automate the initial screening process, saving enormous amounts of time and money. And this was the crucial selling point, bringing unprecedented objectivity to hiring, eliminating the messy, inconsistent human biases we all know can creep into decision-making. But it sounded like a win-win, and companies bought in, wholesale. The statistic revealed by Schellmann is staggering, almost unbelievable. An estimated 99% of Fortune 500 companies now use some form of AI-powered tool in their hiring process. Let that sink in. If you work for or apply to almost any major corporation today, your application, your career trajectory, is likely being initially judged by an algorithm. Schellmann explains that the primary function of this AI, especially in the early stages, is screening. We're talking about applicant tracking systems, or ATS, the software that parses resumes, extracts keywords, and matches them against the requirements listed in the job description. In many cases, somewhere between 75 and 100% of resumes submitted are first read, analyzed, and ranked by software. Only a tiny fraction, the ones the algorithm deems worthy, ever make it to human eyes for deeper consideration. And here lies the crux of the problem, what Schellmann terms the black box issue. Often, even the HR managers and recruiters using these tools don't fully understand how the algorithm arrives at its conclusions. They don't know the precise weighting given to different keywords, the hidden variables influencing the score, or the exact reasons why one seemingly qualified candidate is instantly rejected while another progresses. The inner workings are opaque, proprietary, a secret guarded by the vendors. The systems are primarily designed and optimized for one thing: efficiency. Speed and cost reduction are paramount. But, as the algorithm powerfully argues, this relentless focus on efficiency often comes at a significant cost to effectiveness, fairness, and the fundamental goal of identifying the best possible talent. So for you as leaders, the immediate application here is critical self-reflection. Take stock within your own organization. How much of your initial candidate screening process is actually automated? Do you or does your HR team truly understand the criteria your applicant tracking system or other AI tools are using to filter candidates? Are these systems genuinely optimized for finding high-quality hires who will drive your business forward, or are they primarily operating to reduce the pile quickly, potentially discarding diamonds in the rough along the way? It's crucial to understand that we've moved beyond simple keyword matching in many instances. More sophisticated AI models are now employed, attempting to predict candidate success based on complex patterns learned from vast datasets. However, this added complexity doesn't necessarily equate to greater accuracy or fairness. In fact, it can amplify the risks because of the sheer volume of applications being processed. Even seemingly small errors, subtle biases, or flawed assumptions embedded within these algorithms can have massive, far-reaching consequences, affecting thousands of careers and potentially weakening your talent pipeline without you even realizing it. The promise of efficiency can mask a hidden toll on quality and equity. Now, let's delve into one of the most disturbing aspects Schellmann uncovers: the pervasive issue of bias baked directly into these supposedly objective algorithms. She recounts a now infamous story involving Amazon. In their attempt to build an automated resume screener, the company's engineers fed the AI resumes submitted over a 10-year period to teach it what successful candidates looked like. The problem: most of those past candidates, particularly in technical roles, were men. The algorithm, learning from this skewed historical data, taught itself that male candidates were preferable. It actively penalized resumes that included the word women's, such as captain of the women's chess club, and reportedly downgraded graduates from 2 specific all-women's colleges. Amazon ultimately had to scrap the project, admitting they couldn't guarantee the new system wouldn't discriminate. But this raises a chilling question. If a tech giant like Amazon, with vast resources and expertise, couldn't build an unbiased AI hiring tool based on its own historical data, What hope is there for the countless off-the-shelf tools used by companies large and small? What similar, perhaps less obvious, but equally damaging biases might be lurking beneath the surface of the algorithms your company relies on? Can AI truly deliver on the promise of objectivity when it's inherently learning from a human past riddled with systemic inequalities? The algorithm meticulously details how this bias gets embedded and amplified. First, as the Amazon example shows, there's the training data. If the historical data used to train the AI reflects past discriminatory hiring practices, perhaps undervaluing candidates from certain demographic groups or overvaluing attributes more common in the dominant group, the AI will learn and perpetuate those same biases, often at an unprecedented scale. It essentially automates historical inequality. Second, AI systems often identify spurious correlations. They find statistically significant patterns in the data that have absolutely no logical connection to job performance, but can inadvertently lead to discrimination. Schellmann provides striking examples. Some systems were found to award points for candidates named Thomas or Elsie, simply because those names appeared frequently in the training data of past hires. Certain hobbies might be penalized, baseball favored over softball, potentially reflecting a gender bias. Shockingly, some tools were found to flag keywords containing Afric, potentially screening out candidates mentioning African studies or affiliations. Even seemingly neutral data points like zip codes can become proxies for race or socioeconomic status, leading to a form of algorithmic redlining where candidates from certain neighborhoods are automatically disadvantaged. The AI isn't necessarily programmed to be racist or sexist. It simply finds mathematical patterns that correlate with past hiring decisions, reinforcing existing societal biases without understanding the context or the harm. Third, and crucially for leaders evaluating these tools, there's often a startling lack of proven job relevance. Many AI hiring tools correlate keywords, personality traits inferred from resumes or online behavior, or other data points found among a company's current successful employees. However, they often fail to rigorously validate whether those specific traits are actually necessary or even predictive of success in the specific role being filled. The system identifies what patterns exist among current top performers, but misses the crucial why. It might discover, for instance, that many top salespeople played lacrosse in college, and start favoring candidates who list lacrosse. But is lacrosse actually relevant to selling software, or is it merely a proxy for socioeconomic background or attendance at certain types of universities? Without validating job relevance, these tools risk creating echo chambers, hiring people who fit a narrow, potentially biased profile, rather than identifying candidates with the diverse skills and perspectives truly needed for innovation and growth. Schellmann quotes several experts who bluntly state that many AI hiring tools are simply not ready for prime time, with one even invoking the cautionary tale of Theranos, promising revolutionary technology that ultimately fails to deliver and causes significant harm. The application for leaders here is stark and demands immediate attention. You must demand transparency from your AI HR tech vendors. Don't accept vague assurances of fairness or proprietary black boxes. Ask probing questions. What specific variables does this algorithm consider? How does it weight them? Crucially, has the vendor rigorously validated that these variables are directly job relevant and predictive of performance for the specific roles you are hiring for? Insist on seeing the validation studies. Furthermore, organizations must proactively conduct bias audits on their systems. While Schellmann rightly notes that audits have limitations and can sometimes be superficial bias washing, they are a necessary starting point. Go beyond simple statistical checks, like the EEOC's 4/5 rule. which compares hiring rates across demographic groups, but can miss more subtle or intersectional biases. You need to deeply question the correlations the system identifies. Why does the algorithm favor profile X over profile Y? Is there a sound, job-related reason, or is it picking up on discriminatory proxies? Ultimately, leaders must prioritize tools that are validated, explainable, and auditable over opaque magic solutions. Recognize that deploying biased hiring technology isn't just bad for talent acquisition, it carries significant legal and ethical risks, potentially violating civil rights laws. But the problems highlighted in the algorithm extend beyond just bias, revealing deeper, systemic flaws in how we approach hiring in the age of automation. Consider this unsettling finding from a Harvard Business School study led by Joe Fuller. A staggering 88% of employers surveyed admitted they believe their automated hiring systems filter out qualified candidates. 88%. This begs the question, are we simply automating and perhaps amplifying the flaws already present in our traditional hiring processes? Schellmann illuminates several systemic issues. Firstly, there's the overriding emphasis on efficiency over quality. Many AI tools are configured with extremely narrow parameters, primarily to shrink the massive applicant pool as cheaply and quickly as possible. This often involves rigid requirements like demanding an exact keyword match on a résumé, automatically rejecting anyone without a specific degree, even if they have equivalent experience, or instantly filtering out candidates with an employment gap of, say, 6 months or more, regardless of the reason, be it raising children, caring for a sick relative, or pursuing further education. These arbitrary filters, designed for speed, frequently screen out highly capable individuals who don't fit a narrowly defined, inflexible mold. Secondly, the benchmarks used are often flawed. Many systems are trained to identify candidates who resemble a company's current high performers. While this seems logical on the surface, it can perpetuate homogeneity, cloning the existing workforce and overlooking talented individuals with different backgrounds, experiences, and paths to success. It actively works against diversity initiatives and can stifle innovation by excluding those who think differently. Thirdly, sometimes the problems are frighteningly basic, simple errors in coding or data management. Schellmann mentions an anecdote from Gartner analyst Brian Kropp, where a vendor accidentally swapped the assessment results for 2 different client companies. One company received results indicating mass qualification of candidates, while the other saw mass rejection, the complete opposite of the actual results. Imagine the consequences if such a mix-up went undetected. These aren't sophisticated failures of AI logic, they are basic operational errors magnified by automation. And it's important to note, while we've focused primarily on hiring, Schellmann's investigation in the algorithm goes much deeper, exposing a broader ecosystem of potentially problematic AI applications in the workplace. She delves into the murky world of analyzing candidates' social media profiles, the rise of invasive AI-powered games used for assessment, the highly questionable science behind tools claiming to analyze personality from facial expressions or voice patterns, often riddled with bias and inaccuracy, the extensive use of AI for workplace surveillance monitoring employee activity, and the specific, often overlooked, negative impacts these technologies can have on individuals with disabilities who may interact with interfaces or express themselves differently. While we can't explore all these areas in depth today, it underscores the sweeping reach of algorithms into nearly every facet of our professional lives, often without our full awareness or consent. So what are the actionable takeaways for leaders grappling with these systemic issues? It starts with critically reviewing your entire hiring process, not just the technology tools you use. Are your job descriptions overly complex, filled with jargon and lengthy wish lists, rather than focusing on essential core skills. Schellmann points out how this complexity itself feeds the ATS filtering problem. Strive to simplify job descriptions to reflect what is genuinely required for success in the role. Challenge arbitrary filters within your systems. Is a 4-year degree truly necessary, or could relevant experience or certifications suffice? Is that 6-month employment gap truly indicative of a poor candidate or just a life event? Crucially, leaders need to re-evaluate key hiring metrics. Are you solely focused on time to fill and cost per hire? While important, these must be balanced with metrics assessing quality of hire, diversity, and long-term retention. Perhaps most fundamentally, leaders must foster human judgment alongside AI. Technology can be a powerful assistant, handling high-volume tasks and providing data points, but the final decision, especially for roles requiring complex skills, creativity, and leadership potential, must involve human insight, intuition, and contextual understanding. Don't abdicate responsibility to the algorithm. Actively explore adopting skills-based hiring practices, focusing on assessing demonstrable competencies rather than relying solely on rigid credentials or keyword matching. This approach not only widens the talent pool, but can significantly improve diversity and identify individuals with non-traditional backgrounds who possess precisely the skills your organization needs. Think about the concept of hidden workers, the vast pool of qualified talent inadvertently excluded by overly rigid automated systems. Finding ways to tap into this pool isn't just ethical, it represents a significant competitive advantage in today's tight labor market. To wrap up our discussion today, let's quickly recap the crucial insights from Hilke Schellmann's vital book, The Algorithm. We've seen that artificial intelligence is now a ubiquitous, often invisible, force in human resources, making critical decisions about careers. However, these tools are frequently flawed, capable of embedding and scaling historical biases, and operating as opaque black boxes whose logic is hidden even from the users. They can discriminate unintentionally, but effectively, and often prioritize crude efficiency over the nuanced task of identifying genuine human potential, filtering out valuable talent in the process. Blind trust in this technology is not just unwise, it's actively dangerous for both individuals and organizations. Critical evaluation, demanding transparency from vendors, ensuring rigorous validation for job relevance, and maintaining robust human oversight are no longer best practices. They are absolute essentials. The algorithm serves as a powerful, urgent wake-up call. As leaders, executives, and builders of organizations, the responsibility falls squarely on us to understand these powerful tools and their profound impact. It's time to start asking the hard questions about the algorithms operating within your own companies. Question their validity, their fairness, their actual contribution to finding the best talent. Demand better, more transparent, and ethically designed tools from vendors. Advocate within your industry and potentially beyond for the responsible use of AI in the workplace. Technology that genuinely identifies potential, promotes fairness, and enhances human capabilities rather than diminishing them. This isn't just an HR issue, it's a leadership imperative, a matter of organizational health, and arguably a defining civil rights challenge of our digital age. We strongly encourage you to delve deeper into this critical topic by reading the full book. For a deeper dive into combating algorithmic bias and navigating the future of work, you can find a link to purchase The Algorithm by Hilke Schellmann on Amazon in our episode description. Thank you for tuning into CEO's Library.